Hi everyone, it's Renata from the eSpot, and I had an amazing weekend, and I want to share the story of my weekend with you. So my last vlog that I did, I talked about some of the challenges that I had been up against and how I really was having like a week from hell here in Finland, but the weekend that I just had kind of like made up for all of the bad stuff that was happening. But before I get into all the good stuff, I do just want to give a little bit of like a recap for the people who had seen the last video. I appreciated all of the like well wishes from everybody. I'm happy to say that it's now 2 weeks after I had to go to the doctor for the infection in my leg, and the infection has cleared up. The wound is still healing, but it's basically like I'm not worried about it anymore. It doesn't hurt anymore. I honestly forget about it until like I have to change the band-aid, but I'm doing so much better regarding the medical issues, which is great. Um, Also, the laundry situation has been settled. So, um, actually, someone reached out from YouTube who lives in Jyväskylä, and they were able to help me get a secondhand laundry machine delivered to my apartment. So I was able to buy a laundry machine off of Tori, and someone that they knew was able to transport the machine and install it in my apartment. And it works, and I have clean laundry, and I've been able to wash all of the stuff that had been building up in my apartment. So that is all great. I did finally get to talk to the bank, and I still have to wait 2 more weeks to get my in person appointment at the bank. So I will have a bank account by the end of the month. It's just been a very long road to get there. So at least I'm on the way to having the finished bank account, and then I can basically have all of the like really tough stuff behind me. But to talk about my weekend, oh my God. Okay, so you already clicked on the video, so you can see I saw Käärijä this weekend. I actually didn't just see Käärijä, I also saw Pasi ja Anssi. They opened up for the concert, and I really love Pasi ja Anssi, and they've done a lot of songs with Portion Boys, so I was like super pumped because it was two artists that I really enjoy. I know all of Käärijä's music, and I knew a lot of songs from Pasi ja Anssi as well. So I was just super excited for this concert. In the days leading up to it, I was listening to so much Pasi ja Anssi in particular, also listening to Käärijä, and the day that the concert was November 1st, which was also the day that Käärijä had released his new album called People's Champion. Hi, Cookie. Um, People's Champion, the new album, amazing, amazing. So that whole day on Friday, I was listening to People's Champion, and so many good songs on there. Some songs had already been released, so they were songs that I knew and already enjoyed. But the new songs, oh my God, they were awesome. I love the album. Definitely check out the album. There's a music video for Autioma, and I do plan to do a reaction to it. So that might be available unless it gets copyrighted. We'll see. So maybe there'll be that to watch as well. Do a little bit of reaction action for you guys. But this concert, wow. So it was at this place called Peurunka, which is like a spa resort hotel complex in a village, a place. Let's say it's a place called Laukaa, which is outside of Jyväskylä, and it's kind of remote. It's a little bit far out there. I took a party bus um, with this company called Matkamakela, and this was actually a really nice service. You take this bus, and it goes straight to the venue, and it drops you off just a little bit after the doors open for the concert. And They also take you back to the city, and they get you back to the city around like 2 a.m. So after the concert's over, you have a chance to go to see the DJ and have a couple after concert drinks and dance a little bit and have fun before heading back. So it's a really nice service because it is quite far away, and it stops people from drunk driving or people like me that don't have a car. It gives us the opportunity to get out. And I think it was maybe 20 kilometers, something like that. I mean, it took like 45 minutes to drive there, so kind of a long way. Um, I I was expecting, because it's like a party bus, I was expecting it to be like a party atmosphere in the bus, but it was like a very quiet, somber ride to the venue. Everybody was very quiet, and it was kind of cool because on the bus, it was November 1st, so that's like the All Souls Day, and we drove past some cemeteries, and the cemeteries, because it was nighttime and all of the candles were glowing in the cemetery. And a little bit about me, I'm a historian, and most of my historical research and my master's thesis was actually about cemetery gravestones. So I happen to really love cemeteries, and I really enjoyed going and seeing in these massive cemeteries the glow of all of these candles. Because if it hadn't been that night, it just would have been darkness probably. So that was a really cool experience for me, and I hope to get out to some of these larger cemeteries to actually go for a walk and see what they look like. But anyway, so we got to the venue. Something I loved about the bus was that you could leave your jacket in the bus. So you didn't have to worry about coat check or anything. I don't smoke cigarettes, so it wasn't anything about like, oh, I'm going to be cold if I'm smoking. I just left the jacket in the bus, and then I ran into the venue. And also, kind of funny about the bus is I didn't think that you were allowed to have drinks, and maybe you're not allowed to have drinks, but I kind of like snuck a bottle of Coca-Cola onto the bus with me. And then as soon as we got into the bus, even though it was quiet, everybody was cracking lonqueros. So everyone was drinking in the bus. Um, but the venue was like a really big complex. I would I would call this, I don't know if it is a convention center, but it was definitely feeling like a convention center. They call it an arena. It felt like a convention center. Huge hotel, huge like lobby area, like you walk down all of these hallways to get to the arena. The performance hall was massive. Like you could fit so many people in there. It was huge. And so I got there a little bit after the doors opened, got a really good spot up front, made friends with some of the people who were around me. Everyone was really, really nice. Quite surprised that there was an American at Peurunka, because this is kind of like it's a very interesting place. I think I learned a lot about the sort of venues, typical venues for Finland by being there, because it was a lot of the Pikujolu was happening. So it seemed like maybe they were friends or maybe they were like coworkers, but there was a lot of people who obviously weren't like your typical Käärijä fan that you might see at a like a Tavastia gig, or like he had just been on the European tour. It wasn't really that type of a crowd. It was more of like a very typical Finnish concert crowd, maybe closer to what you would get at like a music festival. Like there were people wearing Santa hats. That was when I realized like, oh, this is like a Pikujolu thing. So the concert, Pasi and Anssi were awesome. They were so awesome. I listened to their music. I've never seen them live, so I didn't know what to really expect. Like I'd seen, some video clips. I knew that they wore kind of like these LED harness things. So I knew that would be a little bit like of a visual element. But oh my goodness, these guys can sing like really good, like really good singers. Because it's kind of like dance. I don't know. I don't know what the type of music is really called, but it's like disco polo. That's the vibe that it is to me. If you know what disco polo is, it's kind of like music for villagers, like upbeat, fun, kind of like songs you can sing along to. It's like Finnish disco polo. That comparison might be totally lost on you people watching. But let me know if you're Finnish, like what would you describe Pasi ja Anssi to be? I don't know if this is really iskelma or is it just regular pop or what, but for me, it's Finnish disco polo. But amazing singers, great at getting the crowd going. I'm going to put some like little videos or pictures in here. I'm not going to put sound on it because I don't want to get copyrighted. But I had an amazing time. They warmed up the crowd really well, and they played a lot of songs. So all the songs that like I think I wanted to hear from them, like Usari Boy, which is a song that they did with Portion Boys. They played that. So I was really happy. Even if I had just gone for Pasi ja Anssi, I would have been happy. But um, Käärijä came out, and oh my God. So I had the opportunity to go to Eurovision in 2023. I was in Liverpool, and I did get to meet him. Actually, my first night, I had been in Liverpool for a few hours, and I did meet him um, at the Nordic party. And he was such a nice guy. He did perform, I think, 2 or 3 songs. Oh, he did perform 2 or 3 songs at the Nordic party, and I also saw him at the Euro Village, and he played, I don't know, 5 or 6 songs, but it wasn't like a full gig. And he had just released the album, so he was playing a lot of the new music from the album. In fact, mostly the stuff from the album. And when I had seen him in Liverpool, that was before the Haria thing got added in. So it was really awesome to finally see his concert, like a real proper gig of his. Um, and all the antics and the costumes and the talking that he did in the middle. There was no English because this was a fully Finnish crowd. There was at least me, and I did talk to an Estonian person after the show. So there was a few foreigners, but basically he had no reason to speak English like he had on the Euro tour. So I didn't know what the hell he was saying, but people were laughing, and I know that he's a really funny guy. So I was just in for the ride, really. But I will admit I totally cried at the beginning of the show, and I'll put the set list up here so you can see what he played. I totally cried at the beginning because I just was like thinking to myself, like he's I'm gonna like cry now. I'm like, he's the reason that I'm here. Like everything with my Finland obsession kind of started from him. Um, and he inspired me to learn Finnish. He got me interested into UMK. Well, I was already interested in UMK, but like really obsessive, let's say, about UMK and all these other artists. And I mean, if it wasn't for Cha Cha Cha, like I would not be sitting in Uvascula right now talking about this Peurunka concert if it was not for him. So, um, I mean, I don't know what else to say about the concert other than it was fucking amazing. And I can't wait to see another concert of his, maybe in like a smaller venue with like the Käärijä fans, the international fans, the people who I actually know from Twitter. Like I know all of these people who are huge Käärijä fans, and none of them were there with me. So I would really like next time I see him to see him with all the other fans and the people from online. So after the gig was over, I got some merch, and I went to listen to the DJ because there was like 40 minutes, I think, before the bus left. And I was on the dance floor. I was really tired at that point, so I'm just kind of like, bobbing along. Um, and I had been warned that Finnish people like to get really drunk, and that for as quiet and reserved as they tend to be when they're not drunk, they're the complete opposite once alcohol gets involved. And for the first time, I saw that in action because this was like 1 o'clock in the morning and people were wasted and they were having a great time. Like, this is not like a negative thing. Nobody was being obnoxious or anything. In fact, they were being hilarious. They were just so funny and so into it, and like the song, like singing the songs, and it was honestly really funny because I was sober, so it was like walking into this like extremely like white girl wasted group of people, and I actually had to like I had to leave the DJ area because I was gonna start laughing. Like, they were so funny. I can't even explain. Like, they were so drunk. So it was time to go, got into the bus, and same deal. Like, everyone was so quiet. Like, we were driving to a funeral on the way there. On the way back, everyone was talking and laughing and singing, and they were singing all these songs. And I did not know the songs. They sang at least one Käärijä song, but all these other songs I didn't know, or I would have sang along with them. But they were singing songs like without even any music playing. Like, they were just singing, and they would sing it like multiple times. I was like, oh my God, like this is really quite the experience. So it was super cool. I did love the party bus, even though Peurunka was kind of a strange venue. It was cool to sort of get the like, run of the mill average like Finland concert experience. So that was really awesome. And the next morning, so I got home really late. Uvascular buses, they don't go past, I think, one. Maybe the last buses are like around two. So by the time we actually got back, there were no buses. I picked up a kebab and I walked 2 kilometers home in the freezing, freezing air. Um, Luckily, I did wear a proper jacket, but like my legs were very cold, my hands, face, everything was very cold. I think I got to bed around 4 a.m. And then at 1 o'clock the next day, well, technically the same day, I got on a train with Cookie and we went to Tampere. Sorry for the hard edit right there. I realized Cookie was being so needy because she didn't have any water in her dish, so I had to give her some water. So I had to bring Cookie with me because I could not leave her at home alone, and I did not want to go all the way to Tampere just to come back at night because I was actually going for the NHL Global Series, and a ton of my friends were in Tampere, so I wanted to make more of a weekend of it, an actual fun trip where I didn't have to feel rushed. So we took the train. It was an hour and a half train, really easy ride. She did awesome in the train. She was so good, so calm the whole time. She does get car sick, so I'm always worried that she's going to like vomit whenever we're in a moving vehicle of any kind, but she did great. She was very patient with the man who sat next to me. She didn't growl even once. She was awesome. And him and his son were very, very nice. And they talked to me a bit in the train. They were actually going to the game. They had tickets to the arena event. I did not have tickets to the arena event. They were hundreds of dollars. And um, I've been to NHL games. I've been to a lot of NHL games actually. So I didn't feel like I needed to be in the arena. For Finnish people, they don't get to see a lot of NHL games unless it's something like this or they have to travel for them. So I let Finnish people enjoy the arena atmosphere of the NHL game because I got to have my own special experience, which I have never had before, which was going to an NHL watch party. So part of the Global Series is that they have these outdoor tents. They said that this tent was heated. I don't know if that was true, but it didn't feel heated to me. I was very, very cold, and I was actually quite dressed for the weather. In fact, when I was like outside walking around and stuff, I was kind of sweating a little bit. But when I was just sat in place in this tent. It was really, really cold, like really cold. So the tent was very cool. It was big. It was inside the Keskastori, this main square, and they had a big old screen. They had kind of like riser bleachers. They had tables and chairs, and I was sat at a table with a chair with someone who I met through a organized group chat on Twitter. They were very nice. It was good to have someone to watch with me. Um, and also watch the table when it was like, oh, I'm gonna go grab food, I'm gonna go grab drinks, no one's gonna swoop in and take your spot or anything. So this tent, they had such a good setup here. um they had all of these like games all around. It was clearly geared towards children, and I probably would not have played any of the games on my own. But they had a way of getting you to play the games, which was they were doing giveaways all night. So you could get tickets to the game, you could get um, merchandise, signed jerseys, stuff like that. But you had to like give your email address. So it was really a data capture thing. But it also got people moving around and doing the events, because I'm sure there were many people like me who maybe they would have done the putt putt, maybe they would have done the cornhole, but they weren't going to do 6 of these games. So you would get like a little stamp, and you had to do 6 of them, and then you could put your card into the raffle. So I played some games. And I did not win anything. I never win anything. I'm not that type of person. I don't get lucky like that. But it was very fun, and they had food. I got like a cheeseburger to eat while I watched the game. They had alcoholic drinks. I had some hot cocoa, which I wish I would have had the hot cocoa earlier, because I'm telling you, I was cold and it really warmed me up once I finally had it. But yeah, the vibe in there was just so cool. Like it was so cool to have just all of these like people just enjoying hockey, watching a hockey game together. It was a really great experience, and the MCs that they had were really good. And they had a special guest, which was the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup was there, and I'm gonna cry again. So I've never seen the Stanley Cup. I had never seen the Stanley Cup in person. When the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row, I was in Poland at the time. So I didn't go to the parade. I didn't go to any of the things where the Stanley Cup was at. I've never seen it before in my life. And I never thought that I would see it, because it's just one of those, it's just a very special experience, to be able to see it at all or to see it close up. So it was funny to talk to Finnish people. And like a friend told me that they had seen the cup before in Lahti, which like, really? Like you're gonna see the cup in a place like Lahti? And I live in the country where the Stanley Cup spends most of its time, and I don't even get to see it. Like it's crazy. So it was really crazy to me that I got to see the cup. I got to touch the cup. I touched the cup. And like I was waiting in the line, and as soon as I actually saw it, I was a few meters away from, I just started crying. And this was before I even took the picture. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, stop crying, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It was just so emotional because I never ever thought that I'd see it. I couldn't believe that I was seeing it up close like that. And it's so beautiful, and it's so shiny, and it's so big. And um so I like keep my composure, and I get up to the cup, and you can see in the picture my face is so red in this picture because I was wiping tears off of my face before I went in there. And the reason that I was so emotional about it wasn't just because I never thought I'd see it, but I love hockey because of my dad. He was the one that got me into hockey. I was born in November of 1990, and in the spring of 1991, the Penguins won their first ever Stanley Cup. So it's kind of like my birthday season was the season where things changed for them. And my dad would say to me that like I was like the good luck charm for the Penguins, which obviously like isn't true, but but still, it's just, it's something that I always associate hockey with my dad and my love for hockey with my dad. And I wished so much that I could have told him that I had seen the Stanley Cup, um, because I just know he would have like gotten such a kick out of it. And he died before my like Finland obsession really ever started. So if he could know like I was in Finland and I saw the Stanley Cup, like he would think that was so crazy and so cool. And I just kept thinking about him while I was there with the cup. And after I took my picture, like I was not going to leave the cup. Like the game was still going on, and I didn't care that the game was still going on at that point. Dallas was losing anyway. I did have victory green with me, and this is what I was wearing because I was supporting Dallas. They're in the West, so I can't support the Eastern Conference team, but and I love Dallas because they played Cha 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 at the arena. That's literally why I chose to support Dallas in the West, because they played Cha Cha Cha. And I'm like, okay, they're Finn positive. So um, I'll support them. So I go through the line, I get my picture taken, and I just was not going to like let that cup leave my sight. Like I knew that I would maybe never see it again. Although maybe I'm going to be in Finland, I might see it again. So it's crazy, but I might see it again. So most people, they just got their picture and they left and they went back, watched the game, whatever. Um, I just stood there for probably 10 minutes, and I was just looking at it and taking pictures of it and thinking about my dad and crying and just staring at that beautiful, beautiful object. And it was just so awesome. Like I'll really, really never forget that chance to see the cup. Um, it was really special and it was amazing, and it just totally capped off the night in such an awesome way. Like I literally would have done that whole trip with the train just to see the cup. That's how awesome it was. So I actually did get to talk to the keeper of the cup, one of the guys who was in charge of it for a minute, and he was super nice. And it was just, yeah, everything about that was so cool. So as I said, Dallas lost the game, which was really sad. Um, and after the game, I went out and I met friends. Most of my friends were actually at the game. They had tickets. It was so fun to go out to a bar, even though I don't drink alcohol, um, but just hang out for a few hours with my friends. Some of them were friends that I have known for a while, friends that I have met before. One of my friends, who I was with, had actually picked me up from the airport when I arrived and like helped me get to Jyväskylä. And I got to see her again, which was really great. And another friend that I met up with, I had actually met up with earlier in the day because he met me and Cookie at the train station to welcome us. His name is Austin, and this is his Instagram page. You should follow it. And I'm also going to put a link to his blog, his website. He is a Canadian living in Finland. He loves Finland. And if you're interested in the like foreigner in Finland type stuff, you definitely need to follow Austin. Awesome guy. Loves Cookie. Cookie loved him. So I got to meet up with him again for a second time. And I also got to meet this awesome group of really nice people who I had been in this group chat with for the weeks leading up to the event, and just talking with them and joking with them and planning with them and telling them, about Dallas Pula and stuff like that. So it was cool to finally kind of put a face to the name of people I had been talking to, and we came from all over. So there were Americans, there were Scots, there were Italians, Netherlands, Denmark, um, Finnish, obviously. I don't think I'm missing anybody, but we were from all over. Did I say Italy? So we were from all over the place, and it was so cool to have this international group of people who had all come together for this one event. So I did get this, my little hockey stick, NHL Global Series. It's made out of wood. I have seen these like mini hockey sticks before, and I always thought they were funny. So I'm really happy to have one now. So I had a really long day, a long 2 days, really. I was really exhausted. So I didn't stay out as late as the others. I had to get back to my friend's house and sleep a little bit. And the next day, I had sort of like a free afternoon in Tampere. However, the weather was really bad. It was snowy, it was cold, it was wet. It was really bad out. And I had meant to buy winter boots the day before I left, but I just couldn't find any that I wanted. And it's like a big purchase. So I didn't want to buy something I wasn't going to be happy with in the long run. But I wish that I would have just done that because I was wearing Uggs. And the thing about Uggs is they're very warm if you're in a dry climate. But if they get wet, like your feet are going to get wet. So I had wet feet and, that wasn't so awesome. So I didn't really want to like go walking and sightseeing. So I just had like a nice relaxed day. I did go out and I got to meet up with somebody else who I had only ever talked to on the internet. And that person was Eero Herranen. And maybe you know who he is. He's kind of like a media personality. He's an actor. He's very active on social media. And he does a lot of like advocacy events. He is just a ray of sunshine in this dark world. And I got to meet up with him. That's us with Cookie. And we got to have some coffee and chat. And it was just one of those things where it was like, for all the negative stuff that social media brings into our lives, toxicity, harassment, all of that. Um, it was so cool to like have the good part of social media like come out and really connecting people. And that's what it was with seeing him. We're two very different people, different backgrounds, but we connected through social media. Same with all of the hockey friends, we all connected through social media. And it's just amazing the way that this can bring people together and make our lives better. And I think the moral of the story is that we need a little bit more of that and that positive connection, and less of the negativity and the harassment. So, with that, I guess I will close out this video. Thank you, as always, for watching, for your comments, for the positive comments. Regarding negative comments, if you've made it this long, although I don't think the haters probably do watch this long, I do try to read all the comments, and I do not appreciate the negative comments. However, if you're going to comment negatively, thank you for increasing my interactions because it helps more people see my videos, because the algorithm does not discriminate. You might discriminate and you might be rude to me, but the little YouTube clickers, all they see is a comment, and all comments in the metrics are positive. So your hate just lets more people see my videos. So thank you for that, even to the haters. So, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it will be another positive video where I can tell you about some good stuff. I will be seeing Kuma this weekend, so another UMK act. And this one I don't have to go very far for. It's a 10-minute walk from my apartment. So there won't be as much of a travel story next time. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I love you all. Bye.